What's going on, everybody? This is Justin with Me, Myself, and Dice, a channel dedicated to solo board games. And today we're doing a playthrough of 1565 St. Elmo's Pay. Now this is a game by Tristan Hall, who has wowed me with his design of Shadows of Kilforth. And yes, I know I'm late to the bandwagon on that, but man, I was so impressed that I wanted to see what else was in his catalog. And this having a historical setting really caught my attention. This is part of his historic epic battle system, which also has 1066 Tears to Too Many Mothers, and as of the time of this recording in March of 2021, a Kickstarter is coming up for the Napoleonic Wars, Scum of the Earth. There'll be a link down below when that goes live. Now in this game, you're taking the side of the Knights of St. John, who are trying to defend the island of Malta, or the Ottomans, who are trying to siege it. And if you're not into historical settings, hang around because you might still like this, because the card play in this really has a reminiscent feel of an LCG or a CCG, where there's two asymmetric sides trying to outmaneuver and outpit one another. This game has some great tactical and strategic decision making, so let's get down to the table and play 1565 St. Elmo's Pay. Welcome down to the table, everyone, where I have everything set up for a solo game of 1565 St. Elmo's Play. And can I just take a minute and talk about the art in this game? This game is really a story-driven game with a historical setting. And man, this art is just jumps out at you. It really lends itself to some cinematic moments. And this is the solo rules. It is only 3.5 pages, really, a little bit less than that, and it just really just has to do with running the foe. It's not much different than a regular game when it's on your side. So that's really cool. That's really good. So we're going to walk through a solo game playing the Ottoman Empire. Our leader is going to be Mustafa Pasha, and their leader is Jean Pourceau de Valette. And I'm probably mispronouncing these names, and I apologize. I'll probably mispronounce a lot in this game. Now, this is the Great Siege of Malta. We have 3 frontiers, and this is going to set up a 3x3 grid. So you can see 3 here. Usually this game goes vertical like this, but for filming purposes, we've turned it sideways. So this will be the first frontier, the second frontier, the third, and then it'll be reading order this way. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a 3x3 grid like that. Now the solo player, the foe, starts off with 3 cards. His leader, the galley slaves, and 1 character, Francisco Babli. And we only start off with our leader. Now they set theirs up in the middle frontier. We do get a hand and they don't. They're just going to be pulling things off the deck. So that's how they cheat. They also have this nice dial that tells you how many resources to give them each round on whatever your difficulty level is. So we're going to be playing on heroic level. So they're going to start with 0 resources, and we will always be the first player, so we have it set to our side right there. And these are our objective decks. We have some tokens we're going to use, and then we have our cards all nice and neat right there. And there's a nice game summary. There's also some other tokens we may be using over here. So let's get started. We first have the preparation phase. We check for victory. I don't think anybody's won yet, but let's talk about how you do win. The way you win, well, there's 2 ways we can win and 3 ways we can lose in the solo game. So we can win by taking out their leader. If we can do 9 damage, that's his health right there. If we can do 9 damage to the leader, then we win. More likely is if we can control 2 of the 3 of these frontiers. And the way we do that is we're going to be putting damage onto these over the course of the game and trying to be the first to pass the threshold. So 8 here, 10 here, 12 here. But we aren't at Malta yet. We're going to spend the first part of the game building up and preparing for this siege. And so we can lose if our leader is taken out, or if we lose 2 of the 3 here. But we can also lose if our deck completely runs out. Now, the AI does not have to worry about that because of the way they flip their deck. But we can lose if we run out. And that's not very likely, but it is a possibility. So I said we couldn't start with these. What we're going to start with is trying to meet objectives. And these objectives tell the story of the events leading up and through the Siege of Malta. Down here in the flavor text, it says, the young Suleiman throws the Knights of St. John from Rhodes after a prolonged siege similar to that of Malta. The siege ends with Suleiman magnanimously allowing the surviving knights to leave the island with honor. So, we're still finishing up the Siege of Rhodes here. And their event is Targut raids Goza. The Ottoman Empire clashes with Europe in a long series of conflicts. After landing on but failing to conquer the heavily defended island of Malta, Targut instead completely depopulates neighboring Goza, enslaving all 5,000 inhabitants. Now there's a lot of story going on in these cards as they come out. I'm not going to take the time to read all the flavor text, but we'll definitely read the flavor text and the story of the objectives as we go through them. So each objective deck is pre-set up with letters A through G, and they always have to work in this order. So it's only when we get to G that we'll be able to start sieging Malta itself. And so the first part of the game is basically a race to get through these objectives. And that's really cool. So you can end up where one side is actually starting at siege on Malta while the other side is not quite prepared. And that's what I'm hoping for to happen for this side in this game. But on heroic level, I don't know. So we check the victory condition in the preparation phase. If we have no cards, we lose. We draw cards and we discard down to 6, then draw 2. So we can have a hand limit of 6. We start with 4 cards, so we're not going to hit that. And I have never hit that 6 limit. So we have a lot of things going on in these cards. Let's use this one. Every card is going to have this fabulous art. It's going to have the name. You have keywords here. You have abilities here. Of course, your flavor text here. You're going to have different titles. You have units, characters. You'll have attachments. You'll have events and tactics. And then here you have its cost, how much zeal it contributes, how much might it contributes, and then the unit's health. So we start with these 4 cards. We have Soli Aga, we have Ottoman Gunners, Pir Mehmet, and Enraged Janissary. And we get to draw 2 cards. That's the first thing we do. Now we're going to play with a variant that's kind of an advanced variant that they suggest highly with Solo, and that is draw 3 cards, put them into your hand, and discard a card. So it doesn't have to be one of the ones you draw. This is a great starting set of cards. Oh man, in fact, it makes me want to get rid of my character. Let's get rid of Pir Mehmet. Let's get rid of that. So that's the one we're going to have to discard. It's not that I don't want them. Every card in this game is fantastic. But that's our starting hand of 6 cards. And I'm happy because we have a lot of low-cost cards in the beginning. And that doesn't always happen. In fact, he was a 2. Both of our characters are a 2. Now the next thing we need to do is decide where our leader is going to go. I'm going to set him in... I have to set him in the front. Remember, there's a 3x3 invisible grid here. I have to set him in the front of one of these. So we're going to put him in Burgu. I don't want to set him opposite here. And I think I need his beefed up abilities for Burgu. And then we go to the deployment phase where we alternate playing deployment turns. So each round, this is the meat of the round. This is where we take alternating turns. And I think the first thing I want to do is I can play a card. I'm going to play The Italian Trader, I always love seeing this in an opening hand. Not necessarily Italian Trader, but a card that lets me tire one non-leader enemy in this card's frontier. So we're going to put it in the middle frontier, right here, and we get to tire one non-leader. The cost was 0, so we can't tire the leader, so a character or the unit, we're going to tire Francisco. Now, a card is either ready or tired, so tired, exhausted, tapped, different lingo in different games. They are tired right now. So we did a turn, it's their turn now. So we look first at how many resources they have. They have 0 on heroic level, we've already mentioned that. But we also look for any characters out here that give a resource with an icon right there. If they are ready, they contribute an extra resource on the solo turn, but he is not ready, so his resource isn't available. So they're going to go through their deck and look for the first 0 cost card. Now on easier levels, they actually start with a -1, but this is not the easier levels. So there's only 4 cards in here that are 0 cost. So I just go through quickly and find the first one, discard everything on top, and put this down. Now this is going to go in the first available spot. Remember 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put it right there, Maltese swimmers. And their ability, being agile, really doesn't come into play. There's only certain abilities that the foe plays. I think the next card I want to play is our Ottoman Gunners. And I think I will put them right here, actually. And it says, when played, deal 1 damage to 1 non-leader enemy. So any of these 3, I think we're going to do a damage to him. If we can take him out, that would be great. You see how not having that resource available it helps them from getting too far ahead. Alright, they're looking for another number 0 card. Oh, there's one right there, but let's see if there's one before it. That's their tactic. Looks like that's the next one. So this tactic, this is why I went ahead and played this. This tactic is goes not in the grid, but outside, and just triggers whenever it can. When a unit character is dealt damage, prevent 1 of that damage, and in solo, as above, tire when used. So it can protect the first 1 hit each turn. I think I'm going to play my Enraged Janissary. Now he has a cost of 1. I don't have any of the resource symbols in my grid, so I'm going to have to pay by discarding a card. And I think I'm going to discard the Levied Men, because their Relentless ability, unless sacrificed, we're not sacrificing, we're using it to pay, this card can be played from the top of the discard pile. So we're going to pay with that, and then we can bring him back. So that's our turn. They're going to look for another 0 cost card, and there's a 0 cost there again. That's the last 0 cost card. So we'll put that out. More swimmers. And then I think I want to play this guy right here. I just pull him out and play him down. Let's play him right there, maybe. They're going to get another turn. Let's look, make sure I haven't missed any 0 cost cards. I have not. These are the 4. The one they start with, the 2 swimmers, and the tactic. So what's going to happen is that's all going to be discarded. The foe never shuffles their deck. It's shuffled beforehand, and it just flips, and they just keep going through it. That's why they can't run out of cards. So, you notice that we've been taking a turn, and they've been responding. So we keep going back and forth until I pass. So I can pass at any time, including now, and then they would get one more response, and then we would move on. And as it stands, I think I will pass. So they get one more turn. There's no more 0 cost cards. There's no more actions they can do. So we move on to the next phase, which is the frontier phase. Now the frontier phase is where we start looking at sieging these frontiers. Like I said, we can't do that until we get to the bottom of this objective deck. So we're going to skip the frontier phase most turns. We go into the objective phase, and this is where we look at our objective cards. And it says right here, this objective destroyed automatically. When destroyed, move on to the next objective. So this one is automatically gone. And we move on to the Nest of Vipers. The Dwindling Order of St. John, having rehoused in Malta, spends many years warring with Ottoman ships traveling the Mediterranean. Turgut tells Suleiman that Malta is a nest of vipers. We have new icons over here. First we have our letter B. We have might. It tells us that we need to use might, and we need to get 6 damage on this card to move on. But there's a threshold of 2 that we have to overcome. So think of it as a shield maybe, 2 defense that we have to get through. So they're going to do the same thing, and that gets discarded, and now we have Payel Rage Jerba. Payel Pasha makes a record journey from Istanbul to Spanish-controlled Jerba in 20 days. He easily destroyed the defending Spanish fleet and reclaims Jerba, Turgut's old pirate lair. So they're going to be doing the same thing, but they are looking at Zil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some countdown die. I think they're easier and a little bit neater than trying to move all of these tokens around during recording. So let's put a 6 counter on each of these. Then we move all the way back up to the preparation phase. Nobody's won yet. Now we draw cards. So again, we'll draw 3. We get scaffolding bridges, inlaid scimitars, which is an attachment. This is an event. And another attachment, ditches and trenches. I think we're going to ditches, no pun intended there, ditches and trenches. We're going to get rid of that. This is better for multiplayer. There's not many cards that just don't really work that well, but they don't move their people around like we can. So there's our hand of 4 cards. We ready everything that's not readied. And we have our first action. Now what I'd really like to do is take this dude out. I only need 1 damage. And I can get 1 from here, but this tactic is in my way. So I think the best thing to do is to get another resource out, and that's going to allow me to draw cards. So let's pay with inlaid scimitars and scaffolding bridges. We'll get rid of those 2 and get out our character, Soli Aga. He's going to add 1 might. He has 2 health, but he gives us 1 resource, and that's very helpful. They're going to take a turn, and we forgot to do this, sorry. This happens at the end of the round. We move up. They're still at 0 resources, but they have 1 here. So they can look for a card that's 0 or 1, and we know they have that. So 2, 4, 1. Oh, good. This buys us a minute. We move up to 2 damage from a unit or character. Well, it doesn't buy us much. Now we have to do 2 damage to him. We forgot to draw a card. So we would have drawn 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. And we keep 1, put 1 in the discard, and put the other in the bottom of the deck. Let's see. We have Janissaries. That's a really expensive card for us right this moment. And it can be played from the top of the discard. So I think that's an easy discard. And this may come in handy. The Converted Christians, deal 1 damage to this card, deal 1 damage to an enemy in this card's frontier. If this wasn't here and they didn't just heal, ouch, that was painful. We could have done our final damage with these 2 card combos. We have Ali Partouk Bey. He's a character, he adds a lot of good stuff for 1. Oh, this is tough. I think I'm pretty committed to trying to take this out. So let's see if we can use this. So we're going to put Partouk Bey on the bottom. Ah, man. I don't know. That would be a good card right now, too. And we'll put this in our hands. So they drew this card, and because we didn't finish our turn. So now we can put this down, I think, and we'll just hang on to this one. They're going to get another turn, and we need to find a 1 or 0 card. Well, there's no zeros, but there's a 1 event. your opponent discards 3 from their deck. So, we're going to have to discard 3. They can make us run our deck. Ooh, that's some good cards too. Woo! And until I can figure out what to do, I think I'm going to pass as is. I don't want to lose these cards just to get 1 damage on him. I would lose this one and I would do 1 damage out of 2 on that. No, let's wait. Let's wait. I need these this turn. See, this is the beauty of this game, is that there's so much you can do, but once they, just like when he was tired, he couldn't use the resource. The same as with them. If they're tired or if they're gone, they're not contributing towards the might that we need. So even though I wouldn't lose him, to deal 1 damage to them, I would lose him and he would not be contributing his might. So I can blast through this. That would be the better option. Okay, so I'm going to pass, and they get 1 more turn. They get the Maltese Militiamen. Agile is not going to make a difference, but they are going to add 1 might and no zeal. So first place they have available is number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we need 6, 7, 8. So we're able to clear this. This is gone. We draw a card. We get Mehmet bin Mustafa. And the next one we have is the last straw. It's going to require zeal, and it says the island of Malta is a headquarters for infidels. An aging Solomon the Magnificent decides once and for all to wipe the Knights of St. John from existence. So we're going to need to overcome with some zeal there. For them, they're looking for zeal, so he has a threshold of 2. There's 1, 2. So he needs 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure I didn't miss any. So he doesn't complete this. He gets down to 2 left. Okay, we go back up top. Well, first we make this move forward, and now they have 1 resource, which means they have 2 with him. So we're going to put a countdown die on 2, just so we can not, from a distance, sometimes I get those lines mixed up. But we're at 2 right now, and if we loses that, then we'll do it back down to 1. We draw 3 cards, 1, 2, 3. We get Levied Men, St. Elmo Bombardment. Deal 1 damage to every enemy in 1 frontier. Ooh, that would be fantastic. Levied Men is 0. This can be played from the discard pile. And we actually have our Levied Men out right there. And deal this card 1 damage, deal 1 damage to enemy in the card's frontier. Ooh. That's tough. That one's expensive, so let's discard that one. Alright, so I think I can do a big whammy here. Let's pay these 2 right here, but I'm going to leave the Levied Man on top. Although it doesn't matter, because this event's going to go away. Action. Deal 1 damage to every enemy in 1 frontier. Now this is where we can game the system a little bit. We're going to pick this frontier right here. We get to pick the order in which we attack. So, I'm going to attack this one first. And that triggers this. So now we're doing 1 damage here. And 1 damage to the leader. So that's nice. That's really nice. And they respond. Let's see. They are... Make sure there's nothing they can do. They are looking for a card of 2 or higher. There's 5. Alright, we have an event. Destroy 1 non-leader enemy with zeal of 0. Wow. That's painful. Maybe not that bad. Let's get rid of... We get to choose... We're definitely not choosing him. I think we'll choose him. We'll choose the Levy Man because we can... Well, it says unless sacrificed. So yes, he was destroyed, not sacrificed. So we can actually play him back in. Yeah, that's not bad. Now that seems on the surface like that's kind of cheating, but every time if we pull him back out, that's going to give them another turn. we're going to take an action. We're going to deal this card 1 damage to deal 1 damage to one enemy in this card's frontier. So 1 damage to him kills him off. We're going to do a damage right here, and that takes this back down to 1. Now when we lose a character, let's say we lose him, everything slides up. Everything collapses towards the frontiers. However, when the solo player loses one, it doesn't move forward. And that keeps their leader safer in the back, which is something we might want to consider. So I think I will play this card to get the 1 resource. I'll tire him, and I'll put out our Holy Man. The reason is our Holy Man has 1 zeal. This one does not. And we get to draw a card in response. So we draw Red Circos. Destroy 1 non-leader character. Oh, that would have been nice just a minute ago. We wouldn't have had to sacrifice that dude. Okay, they're going to respond with drawing a card. 5. They're looking for a cost 1. Another one that's going to remove 1 damage from 1 unit or character. Your opponent discards 2 cards from their deck. So 2 cards are gone. Oh, not Pasha. The other Pasha character that we just read about, actually. He is discarded out of the game, pretty much. So, we are going to take the damage we did off him. And that's okay. Well, I was thinking about playing the Levy Men out of there, but that discard destroyed that. So, I'm going to pass. They're going to get another turn. And they have Rafael Savago. It's a Knight of St. John, Order of Malta, Spanish. He's resilient, and that's not going to come into play. He's going to go right here. Okay. Objectives. We look, and we need Zil. So he's going to provide us 3. So that's 1 left over, plus this one is 2. That's not great. 6, 5, 4 left. And they're going to have enough to get through this, I believe. So 1, 2, that's the threshold, and 3 more is enough to get through this. So they are going to move on to C. Don Garcia reclaims Pinon de Velez. Don Garcia de Toledo is appointed Captain General of the Sea. He reclaims the fortified Corsair base of Pinon de Velez. It's going to be Might, which is far easier for them to get, and a threshold of 6 again. Okay, let's move this forward to round 4, and they now have 2 resources native. And that's why I was so anxious to get rid of that resource. So we draw 3 more cards, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to get Slave Laborers, which is a great event. Play 1 card at a cost -3. That's great. Battery guns, artillery, that's what we need. So, let's see. Destroy 1 attachment. I guess we're getting rid of that. Yeah, I think we are. That's probably my favorite art in this whole deck of the Ottomans. Love that art. Gosh, it's so good. So, I don't want to do much this turn, I don't think, because I don't want to give them too many turns. So, let's turn this sideways and use that resource to play our event, Slave Laborers. Play 1 card at a cost of -3. So, we're discarding that, and we're going to pull out our battery guns for free. So, that's what we're going to put there. And artillery does 1 damage to itself and to every enemy in this card's frontier, no matter where it is in the row. Ranged units have a range of where they can hit. But artillery units can hit everything, as you would imagine. That leaves the Circos for us. They get a response, and they're looking for anything 2 or less. We have an event. Play 1 card at cost -3, just like ours. The defense resources. So when they have an event that doesn't happen, they just pretty much lose that turn. Okay, I think I'm going to pass. I don't want to use this yet because it has a Zil on it. Again, that agonizing decision. I could try to take 1 out, but he's not needing Zil yet, and this guy is my main target. This guy's not giving him any might, which is odd. Very few cards give no might. We pass, they get one more turn. Looking for something too. There's one right there. Religious fervor. It's a tactic. As an action, use one unit or character gains one zeal until the end of the turn. But in solo, Devalette gains one zeal. So we're going to put that up here. And we're going to put a 1 zeal on this. So in this tactic, that was a -1. Let's make it a +1. He's going to get that here. And if I'm not mistaken, he doesn't take an action to do that. And if I'm wrong, at least I'm making it harder for myself. Okay, so let's check for progress. We have 1 here and 1 here. That's our threshold of 2. So we're able to get 3 on there. Down to 1. Not as much as I wanted. And then over here, they're looking for might. So they have a threshold of 2. There's 1, 2. So they're going to have 1, 4, 5. Oh, so they didn't quite clear it either. Down to 1 for them. That makes me happy. Oh, that makes me very happy. We move this to round 5. They're still at 2 resources. We draw 3 cards. We have ropes and grapples. We have Elmos. Let's see. Tire 1 non-leader enemy in this card's frontier. He also provides a resource. We have heavy wheel guns, another artillery. Deal 1 damage to this card and to every enemy in this card's frontier. And none of them give us zeal. Okay. So I think we're going to discard the ropes and grapples. I'm not looking to move much. I'm not looking to move much. Everything ready's back up, and I think I'm going to use him, and I think I'm going to discard this other artillery and get Elmos out. And I can tire 1. It really doesn't matter. We'll tire him, I guess. Okay, they're looking for a 2-cost card or more, or less, I'm sorry. And they get Valette's crossbow attachment. Destroy this card to deal 1 damage to an enemy in 1 frontier. Attached to a unit, it gains 1 might. So we're just going to attach it to a unit. Let's put it on our galley slaves. Let's put it in the center. I get to choose, and I like that. We just can't put it on a character or unit that is we can't put it on a unit that is tired, and we can't put it on a character because it specifically says unit. So it's one of these 3, my choice. I'm going to activate yes, I can do that. That's fine. I'm going to have enough zeal left over. So we're going to activate this. We do 1 damage to this, and then 1 damage to each here. And then I can pick what order that goes in. So I'd say let's put 1 on here first, and that's going to get canceled out by that. And then 1 here, and then 1 here. They only have 1 health, so that +1 might is gone. And again, they don't slide forward. They're going to place it. That's a 5. A 2. Juan de la Cerda. Spanish commander. Each Spanish unit gains +1 might. So that's going to go there, and that may not be any better. So Maltese is Italian. Maltese, Spanish, but it's not a unit, and Maltese. Okay? So we're just going to have to remember that. I'm going to pass with 1 card in my hand and take another turn. Let's see. 2, 2. Christian convert defection. Take control of an enemy infantry and place it in the same frontier. Oh, man. So, clergy infantry. He's going to take control of this and put it right there. That's painful. This does slide forward. And we go on to the last straw in the objective phase. So again, we're looking, we have 1, 2, and then 2 more is enough to clear this. So last straw is taken care of. Now we have a meeting of the Divan. He's decided he's going to attack Malta, and now he's making the plans. Suleiman makes plans to attack Malta. A strike at the heart. The Ottoman war machine swings into action in the most ambitious maritime adventure since the Crusades. We're looking for might, but we now have a threshold of 3 we have to cross each turn. So, can we do that? Over here, they're looking for 1 Zil. He has it just with this card, so pop that back up to 6. We needed to draw a card. We get, Giant Basilisk. That's fun. And they have Ramagast captures the Sultana. Mathurin Ramagast, continuing sea raids, leads to the capture of the governor of Cairo and the nurse of Suleiman's daughter, Mirama. So they're looking for might as well with that same threshold of 3. We draw our 3 cards. We get long-bearded arquebuses. We get cracked snipers and sapis. And we need to move this forward 1 to round 6. They're gaining 3 resources each turn now. Painful. We need to discard something. We'll get rid of the event. Yeah, destroy 1 non-leader with a Zil of 1 or lower. Hate to get rid of that. So painful. So we ready everything up, and let's see. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I am going to get rid of my Giant Basilisk, which is a fantastic artillery unit because it provides 3 might. But I think I need the Zil more from this. So we're going to discard our Red Surcoats event, which destroys a non-leader character. So non-leader character. Oh. Okay, we're going to discard those 2, and we're going to pay with this one. And we're going to get our cracked snipers out, which deals 1 damage to a non-leader enemy. So let's do it to him, because it doesn't matter. This is going to trigger. They're looking for their turn, and they're going to start digging for cards 3 or less. Okay, musketmen. Now we've been going in order, and the next order would be here, but whenever a ranged enemy comes out, they try to go automatically in the first spot with our leader. So either way, they're going to go right there, and this is going to give them a new action to do on their turn. Right now, they just place it, and it comes back over to us. I think I'm going to trigger this turn. Oh, that's painful as well, because that's -2. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to trigger this turn, and this is already gone. So we're going to do 1 damage here, 1 damage here, which kills him, and 1 damage to their leader. On their turn, they're going to activate this. And what it does is it deals 1 damage to our leader if it can hit it. And it can. Deal 1 damage to an enemy up to 3 rows away. You don't count this. So 1, 2, 3. So they're going to go for our leader and put a damage on him. And he has 9 health, the same as their leader. We're going to pass. And they have no more actions, so they're going to draw again, and they get an attachment. Attached to De Valette, he gains 1 Zil. So he's up to +2 Zil each turn. +2 Zil. That's not good. It's the last person I want Zil to go on. Okay, so we look at our objectives. Can we get this? So this automatically gives us our 3. So we're looking for might. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're good. We draw a card. Didn't take much convincing. We get gunpowder explosion. Destroy 1 non-leader enemy. Fantastic. And we're moving on to departure ceremony. And this is where our leader, Mustafa, leader of the invasion's force, Mustafa Pasha, receives his standard and general's sword. He sets off aboard his flagship to Malta, accompanied by his fleet. So this is where he becomes a general and sets off under the direction of Suleiman to go attack Malta. And we need threshold of 3. We need Zeal this turn, and we have 6 gold. Over here, they want to do 6 damage. They need 3 might. So again, this is going to be the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. Let's make sure I counted that right. So that's the threshold of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fantastic. So we are just slightly ahead. But that's all we need. If we can get 1 turn before they are ready, we could do some damage. Let's bump this up to round 7, and they are still at 3 resources. We draw our 3 cards. 1, we get Targut's Corsairs, Janissaries, and Practical Engineering. Practical Engineering gives us a choice of the event action. Play 1 artillery card for free. That would be nice if we still had the Giant Basilisk. Or deal 1 damage to every card on both sides in 1 frontier. Ooh, that is dangerous. Janissaries is a unit, 3 might, 1 zeal, so that's a good card. Unit sacrifice, unless sacrificed, this card can be played from the top of the discard pile, so maybe we want to discard it. Cunning, tire 1 non-leader enemy in this card's frontier, and gives us a resource. That's tough. I think, though, let's just be safe right now and discard that so we can play the Janissaries off the top if we so want. Ready everything up. I think I will pay this 1 and get rid. I hate getting rid of both of these. But we're going to get rid of our Practical Engineering and Target's Corsairs to play this off the top of the discard pile. And get our Janissaries out here. And they're relentless. And again, that means they can be played off the discard pile. And now we have our full grid. Now, we can do something we haven't done, which is sacrifice units. This is the only action we can do where they don't get a response. So let's say we wanted to sacrifice this unit. We have to sacrifice a ready unit, discard it, and everything moves forward, and then we have an open spot. And I don't think I put a second damage on this. They get to go. They start with their ranged. They put another damage on here. Now, sometimes they come out a lot earlier, and they're a lot more dangerous. But I'm kind of okay letting them just take pot shots at me. I don't want to sacrifice my battery guns yet by using their ability. I think I could do this, though. Let's pay this. Let's not pay this yet. Let's sacrifice something. I think we're going to sacrifice our Italian traders, the ones I pointed out. Yeah. They're not doing me a ton of good. So these are going to slide forward. And again, they don't get to react to that. So now we can pay 1 and 2. And the last card in our hand, the Spahis. The Spahis are great because I got them in this 3rd row. They gain +1 might, which gains this to remind us. So there are 3 might. That's why I was okay getting rid of that 1 sacrifice. They get another turn. They're hunting for cards. Now 3 or more. That's a 4, a 2, an event. Deal 1 damage to every enemy in 1 frontier. Oh, man. Now I get to choose, and if I choose, none are good. If I choose here, we lose him, and he's a resource. If we choose here, we lose them, and in this round, I get -1 zeal in this card's frontier, so that would only count as 1 zeal. If I go here, I lose my battery. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. And I lose that extra might there. Oh, no. I don't know which is the worst option. Let's do it on the bottom row here. That means he'll take another damage. He'll take a damage, and we lose him altogether. That's not great. We are going to pass. They get another turn, and they have the Sultana. And we just read about the Sultana. But that is the ship. It's an attachment. Attached to a frontier, it gets +1 zil. I think I'll attach it to this one right here, and it'll get +1 zil. And that's only for their side. Okay, objectives. So we're looking for threshold of 3. We can do that with just the Janissaries. So now we're looking for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're good. So we're there, and we draw a card. We get Ottoman Sappers. And now we are at the landing of Malta. And I'm just going to show you with the back of this card because it's the full art a little bigger. But man, that is amazing. And this is a quote from one of the authors that Tristan used. The spectacle of the Ottoman landing took the breath away. 130 galleys, 30 galleots, 9 transport barges, 10 large galleons, 200 smaller transport vessels, 30,000 men. Roger Crawley, Empires of the Sea. I mean, that art captures that beautifully. Horrifically, but beautifully. And that is St. Elmo. So, we're next to last card, 18th May, 1565. We need more might and 6 on this. So, I'm sure that they got through their might just with that one. So that gets flipped, and they have Ramagast strikes again. Ramagast continues raiding Ottoman ships, and this time captures the governor of Alexandria. Suleiman is furious. So they're looking for might as well, and I have no doubt that they'll get through this one pretty fast. Okay, we're going to bump this up to round 8, and now they're getting 4 resources. Ouch. We draw our 3 cards, and I'm very scared we're going to have to skip a turn here. Ooh, we do have some artillery. Torch fields. Your opponent reveals their hand, then you may choose to discard up to 2 of their cards, or we can destroy, but in solo we destroy an enemy tactic. That wouldn't be bad. That would get rid of one of those zil. Then we have more Spahis. Ooh, that might be good too. Right here to fill that spot. Yeah. I think out of all of these, the Sappers, these are great. Deal 1 damage to the card and to this card's frontier. So we can go ahead and start dealing damage even though we haven't reached there. It's kind of a forward force. But I think of all of them, I think that's the one I want to get rid of. We ready everything. And I think we'll go ahead and pay 1. And as much as I want to destroy that tactic, I don't think I will. Yeah, I don't think I will. Let's do the torch fields. Let's get rid of those. And we'll put out more Spahis, and that's going to give us another 3rd row might right there. They've ready everything up, so they're going to take a pot shot. I say pot shot, but this can go faster than we think. So, 4 there. I'm going to pass, and they're going to do a card search. So, they're looking for anything 4 or less. There's a 2. Don Constantino, Knights Commissioner, Order of Maltese Spanish. And he doesn't add anything when played. So, he's going to go here, first available, and he adds 2 might. And he is not a Spanish unit, he's a Spanish character, so he does not gain a might off of him. So we played, they played, we passed, and they got the card. Okay, so let's do some objective checks. So this is going to get our 3 threshold. Now we're looking for 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we have it easily. And now we are on to the Great Siege of Malta. Was it really the greatest siege? Greater than even Rhodes? Catherine de Medici. Yes, madam. Greater even than Rhodes. It was the greatest siege in history. Knight Commander of De La Roche. So now, notice there's no things here. We can this turn directly siege Malta. And remember, we have to get 8 here, 10 here, and 12 damage here. However, they are not. They're still behind. So can they get through this one pretty fast? So he needs a threshold of 3. That's going to provide it. And then they need 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yes, they are through this. We should have drawn a card. And they are still on F. So they have to get through this with Zeal. I don't think they'll have any problem. I think we get one extra turn. So, La Valette summons the Knights. 10 February 1565. As word spreads of the gathering Ottoman Armada heading to Malta, Valette summons the Knights of St. John from all over Europe. So he's consolidating his forces in Malta, ready for our attack. But he's not ready. We're going to get a turn where he's not ready. So, let's move this up. Round 9, they get 5 resources. So bad. We gain 3 cards. That's good. 2, 3. We have Janissary Snipers. We have Targut Reyes. Commander, move 1 Ottoman unit character to a different frontier. So we could move him back or to a different frontier. We don't have space just to move him. We'd have to switch. So actually, I'm thinking that without even looking, that's the one we want to discard. Janissary Snipers deal 1 damage as an action, up to 3 rows away. Nice. And Mercenaries. Mercenaries are not going to add anything to us right now, so let's do that. They are great at the beginning of the game. And when we drew our card for getting through the objective, we drew probably one of my favorite cards, the Galleys. Deal 5 damage, they're ranged. Deal 5 damage to 1 enemy up to 5 rows away in this card's frontier, and have a resource, but they're expensive. Ready everything up. Okay, so from now on the objective phase, just so you can know what we are kind of looking for, it switches, and we're doing the same thing we were doing with the objectives. We're adding up our might and zeal, but we're adding it into each frontier. So we've kind of lined these units up, these characters, and they're attacking different frontiers on Malta. And I have to figure out, I would like to put out another character. I think I'd really like to put Turgut out, but I really don't have enough resources. So the next question becomes, what do I have? Actually, I think that I'm going to just pass. I really don't want them to gain too much. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to make the most of what I have right now and then work my way over. So, I'm going to pass. They're going to shoot, and I just usually replace these with the one of the opposite color as a 5er. So, he has 5 damage on him now. So, we go to the frontier phase, and in order, we calculate our might on each frontier, then we calculate the zeal combat in each frontier, and it gives us different results. So walking through this, we have 3, 4, 5, 6 might here. Now, if they were on their G objective, which they are not, and this is why this happens before our objective phase happens, let's just say they would have 1, 2, 3. So 3 to 6, we have more might. We would put the difference in might over onto this card. So 3 would go up towards the 8. But since we have since they aren't even here yet, we're going to put 6 here for us. And then we do the same down here. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 might. So there's 5 here, and that's the last of my countdown die. So we're going to use the resource die. And down here we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 out of our 12 here. And then we go through and we calculate the zeal. So there's 3 here, and they would do the same. They would have 1. And whoever has the most puts 1. So it doesn't matter how much you go over, just If you have more than the other, you put 1. Now on either one of those, if we were to tie, each only puts 1. So in this case, we're going to put 1 more here. We're at 7 out of 8. I think I'm going to have that locked down. Here we're going to be at 6 out of 10. And here we're going to be 8 out of 12. And then they're not participating in the frontier phase, so they get to the objective phase, which I'm pretty sure they're going to get through. So here's the threshold of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, are they not? 5. We got to count this. So let's double count that. There's the threshold, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ouch. Man, we're going to get a whole nother turn. That's never happened to me on this level before. I actually have never won against Heroic. Okay, so that's their objective phase. They still have 1 left, and we turn the dial. They are now up to still at 5. So 5 resources. We gain 3 cards. And what do we have? We can play this from the discard pile. It adds 1, 2, and 2. And this adds a tactic that gives +1 zeal to Pasha. I don't think I need that. And then Pitiless Butchery. Action until the end of this round. Your opponent's total zeal is 0. Oh, I could totally tank him. Yeah, we're taking that. And I don't really care about the other one, so we'll get rid of that. Oh man, that is fortuitous. If I was playing against another person, that might be a flip the table moment. Oh man. Wow, that just seems evil. All's fair in love and war, I guess. So, let's spend 1 and 1. And let's play our event. Their zeal is 0. This turn. Total zeal is 0. Wow. Yeah. I forget how awesome that card is. I've not played it in this situation where it just really can just keep them from even moving forward. Okay, they're going to still take a pot shot. So 6. And then our turn. I really don't have to do anything. Yeah, that card changes everything. So I'm going to pass. So we have the Human Head Bombardment. Biological weapon. Action. 1 damage to 1 enemy unit. It's a vent. And it says, in response to the crucifixions of the Knights of St. Elmo, all of the Turkish prisoners were slaughtered, and St. Angelo's guns fired their heads into the Ottoman camp. That's just grotesquely horrible. The horrible things that people do in war. So I could really assign this anywhere. I'm going to assign it where it's going to do the most damage, which would be to kill off a unit, I think. And that moves forward. It wouldn't kill anybody else off. And it wouldn't get them within 1 shot of 7. Yeah, I think that's the worst I could do. We're going to add up our zeal, or our might. So 5 here. Again, they're not competing. So we have this one. I'll just put a teardrop on it, or a pen marker. And then here we have 2, 3, 4, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have that one as well. We have 1, but just in case, let's count this up. 2, 5, and that is enough to claim that one as well. And we have what I would call an overwhelming victory. Wow, that is amazing. I got lucky though, because they didn't pull out any of their really high cost cards. I don't know where all of their, like, Brother Robert of Ebola. I mean, they have really some nasty, nasty cards in here. And it's all about timing. The Lone Swordsman. Guerrilla Warfare. Yeah, I feel like Medina Cavalry Knights gain 1 might in row 3. That's a great late game card for them. Swivel gun teams unit. So they don't have I don't feel as much artillery. I haven't played with them as much as I played against them. I feel like they don't have as much artillery as the Ottomans do. And I just think that, we got lucky. I feel like a lot of their higher cost cards were flipped in the early game. Yeah, look at that. 4, 4, 3. These were all 5. Captain Miranda. Yeah, a lot of these were Greek Firepots, another nasty event. Yeah, a lot of their big units, Ramagas didn't come out. They just ran through their big cards at the beginning, which is neat because that can happen. That can happen with a real player. That can happen with the solo foe. But that's it. That's the Siege of Malta, a solo game, how it plays on. You get to see my first heroic win. And that is 1565 St. Elmo's Pay. Let's go back up top. And that was 1565 St. Elmo's Pay. And have I mentioned how much I love the art? Oh, that is so good. Wow, man. The art, the text on the card, the story that's told throughout this is just so rich and so immersive. The gameplay has a few elements that make me feel like I'm playing an LCG or maybe even Magic the Gathering, maybe like Marvel Champions with the discarding cards for resources, trying to complete those objectives, maybe like the Lord of the Rings LCG, but you're going head to head in a Magic the Gathering kind of style. But it's so different too, because you are working towards that end goal of sieging Malta, because more than likely that's how you're going to win. But at the same time, you have to make these hard tactical decisions to trying to keep yourself ahead and complete your objective in front of you while keeping your opponent behind you. And that is great. So these decisions of, do I use this right now and sacrifice a zeal that I need to go on to that objective right now so that I can take a hit on the opponent? Those kind of decisions, oh, they're so good. And of course, the discarding cards to pay for cards, so agonizing, every time. It's so great. And if you're not into historical themed games, or if you are interested but haven't played one yet, thinking that they might be too dry, this is a great place to start. This actually reminds me of reading like maybe a Game of Thrones or something like that, because it has that historical groundedness. Now, there's no fantasy elements, no dragons, none of that, but you have that kind of backstabbing, that alliance making, these new characters popping up. It's just really good storytelling. It's really good mechanics, and it's just a fantastic game. I haven't played it 2 players, but man, do I want to. And I have not also played 1066, but you can mix and match the different factions from that game into this one. And when Napoleon comes out, you'll be able to do the same. And I want to try that. I want to see what other factions feel like in this game. And speaking of the Scum of the Earth, again, that should be coming out, I think, the 19th of March. So definitely check the descriptions down below for a link to that Kickstarter when it's live. And the last thing I want to say with solo in this is that I feel like it's really well done. I think that this dial is a great way to keep track of the things you need to keep track of with your opponent. That just keeps my memory having to work less and less, which is great. I can focus on myself, and a good way to up and lower the difficulty in a very simplistic way. And the faux AI system is very unobtrusive. I'm definitely engaged with what my opponent is doing, but it doesn't take hardly any time at all. In fact, a lot of times they'll have just the right card at just the right time where they just ruin your plans or take out one of your things that you just barely needed to squeak by on an objective, and it feels like you're playing a smarter AI than it really is, because really all you're doing is flipping cards and placing things down where they just happen to go. And that is 1565 St. Elmo's Pay. I'm sure I made a bunch of mistakes. I'm sure that you have questions or thoughts. Leave them in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this content, think about hitting that like, smashing that subscribe, and tapping that bell icon so that you don't miss any of the playthroughs or other videos that we post on this channel. I hope you enjoyed this, and until next time, thanks for watching, and happy gaming.